Hey there, fellas. Check out the engine I've got for this one. This is a 2J. For those who don't know, this is a good, reliable, and powerful motor. But this one is pretty old. It has developed a knock, and overall has seen better days. Rebuilding one of these will cost a pretty penny. But in this episode, I suggest we try and cheaply fix it. Increase its power output. And of course, try it out. Let's go. When we started taking the engine apart, we immediately realized there will be issues, potentially serious, because even at a quick glance we can tell that this engine has been tampered with. It's obvious there have been repairs in the past, because there's a bunch of sealant sticking out that's definitely not factory. There shouldn't be any of this color in those areas, and they wouldn't have applied it this way. Another indication are some rounded off bolts. Check this out, guys. We've torn the engine down and are a bit shocked. What exactly am I talking about? We've pulled out the pistons and rods, taken apart. Actually, things fell apart on their own. Who am I kidding? Right away, we noticed that the bearings, well... You get the picture. The reason the engine was knocking is because it was running these legendary bearings. On top of that, the rods struck us as a bit suspect. We know very well what 2JZ rods are supposed to look like. These are definitely the wrong ones. I mean, they are for a 2J, just not for a GE, but rather the FSE version of the motor. As for the main difference, well, you can tell even just by looking at them that they are very slender compared to the GE rods. The length of the rods is the same. In theory, they should work. However, they're not going to do it for us, because we're looking to increase this engine's power, and I suspect these rods might just break. As you now know, these are the rods that this engine had from the factory. It would have come with these connecting rods as stock from Japan. And since we are bringing this engine back to factory spec, that means that the piston rod assembly will need to be replaced. Whoever is surprised I mentioned the pistons, well, I'm about to show you the ones that were fitted to this engine. As you can plainly see, even at a quick glance, it's obvious that the pistons are very different. Hopefully you can see it. And what's really amazing is that, well, this is a testament to the quality of these engines. That even in this sort of state it was able to run. And so for starters, I suggest we get this engine back into stock form. So firstly, we diagnosed the engine. We've taken it apart, inspected it, identified a few issues, some of the parts we might replace, then we're going to clean and tidy it up. The oil pump is one of the most important parts of an engine, and the housing, the rotor, and the cover on this one are in good condition, with minimal wear. This one is good to go for another couple of 100,000 kilometers. To us, that matters. It's nice to know that this one held up in such good condition. At the very least, that's one less expense. This one should work pretty well. And after an inspection and a good clean, we are well in the right to reuse it. Okay guys, we are about to start assembling this 2J. You'll recall we're doing this on a budget, and so we're fitting used parts. Even the bearings we're using are not new. They've seen some use, however. We've carefully inspected and measured each and every part, and rest assured that they are all in 100% working condition. So that covers the minutia. And yes, some of the bearings had evidence of slight damage, but we were able to carefully get all of that fixed. As for why we're sticking to a budget, well, you can find a used set consisting of rods, pistons, and rings for maybe around 10 to 12,000 rubles, or 130 to 160 bucks, if you look in the right places, as opposed to purchasing new pistons and associated components, where you're looking at 100 or even more. But then let's call it 60 grand just for the pistons. With everything else, it's gonna be a small fortune. But yeah, we're assembling this engine on used parts. Make sure to carefully inspect everything if you decide to go the same route. I expect this to be a cost-effective overhaul. And with that, let's carry on. The simplest and most appropriate way to increase the power on a 2J is to add a turbocharger. And since we're turboing this engine, we need to be very deliberate when assembling it. Fitting a tube to the oil pan, which will later serve as the oil drain fitting. We're repeatedly inspecting the mounting surfaces, then applying quality sealant in the proper way to ensure this engine works without any issues later down the line. And of course, for such a mighty engine, we're going to need a mighty vehicle. This one has been sitting for quite a while, I reckon that's pretty obvious. And so now we're going to pull everything out of its engine bay and stuff this Super 2J into it for the purpose of testing it. Let's go. This ZMZ 511 suited this G-wagen well, but its time has come to pass. We're going to replace it with the 2J, and to make this build even more interesting, we're fitting not one, but 3 turbos to it. Each one of them cost us a mere 1,000 rubles, or 13 bucks. We're using a stock 2J manifold as the foundation. We've routed 6 tubes into 2, and then those into one big one. From there, we need to branch out 3 tubes, 1 for each turbo, and they'll be located right around here above the manifold. Here's how we'll sort the prop shaft. We had a tail housing for a Toyota gearbox, and I've removed the tail housing from the Mercedes gearbox. We'll use these 2 pieces to make a single tail with the correct spline connection to fit the Toyota gearbox, while this bit is going to correspond to the Mercedes propeller shaft. Weld it up and we should be good. Okay, we've fitted the engine and we've installed the exhaust manifold. To it, we've fitted a single wastegate on one tube, because we don't need to be running 3 of them. One will be enough. Now I'm in the process of fitting the power steering pump. The factory one for this engine doesn't quite fit, because we need to install the AC compressor, as the AC and power steering pump share the same brackets. And the AC won't fit because the stock Mercedes differential is getting in the way. But I do have an AC compressor, I mean to say a power steering pump from a Mercedes, which doesn't quite fit, but we have to sort this out somehow, so let's get to work. Ideally, I'd want to dismantle the power steering and just leave this bit, because these 2 eyelets connect to the engine, while the power steering pump is bolted to this right here, routing the belt like it would be routed from the factory around the stock tensioner. Well, we are gonna need this pulley for that to work. But if I take this apart, will the pulley still be there with its bearings? I suspect it'll retain just one of the bearings. So the AC compressor is gonna fit. It'll be just like from the factory. We might use the AC compressor, the AC as a tire compressor. What the f***'s up with you, dude? What the f*** do you mean, tire compressor? These factory tubes for the turbos, well, we have them, that's all good, but not all of them fit. The exhaust manifold was pieced together tightly, and so there's some interference. As a result, we're cutting and rerouting them to get them into the right spot. It's bent in that direction, so I need to cut it like so and make it point that way. We'll be using the factory NA intake manifold, but the stock location for the throttle body doesn't suit us, which means we need to re-weld the factory manifold, cut out a piece around here, and weld in a piece of pipe to get the throttle body into the position we need. Now, of course, we're expecting this engine to put out more power than in stock form, and as such, we need to upgrade the fuel injectors. And to keep this a budget build, we bought the cheapest injectors we could find. They're for a Mitsubishi, and they have way more flow. They're for a 4-cylinder engine, but a relatively powerful one. And on a 2J, they should provide enough fuel for up to around 400 horsepower, especially if we increase the fuel pressure for good measure. Right, so it's all in the injectors. We used to be running these, but they don't provide enough flow. Instead, we'll use these. They're for a different car, but they suit this application. However, the mounting spots in the intake manifold are a bit too big. They correspond to these injectors, while these do not fit. We found this out way too late, and now we have to redo the entire intake manifold. We sourced a different one, which these injectors will fit to. What we're gonna do is take 2 receivers and turn them into one that's going to fit to the new set of runners, because everything is more or less the same size. But yeah, we have some re-welding to do. Okay, so we've completed the exhaust. The pipe exits somewhere next to the wheel, that's all good. Now we tend to the intake. 3 tubes coming off of each turbo. Over here they'll connect into one. Go into the intercooler, which will be placed right here in front of the main radiator. We'll pull it off of the Supra, which we'll fit a new one to. Here we'll have a big tube going into the manifold, and the blow-off valve will also be located in this area. Now, since we'll be running the engine bay harness as well as the interior wiring with the ignition switch, gauge cluster, and so on from the Lexus, this means we need to remove all of the Mercedes wiring. Right, so the old factory G-wagen wiring I have successfully removed, pretty much all the way down to the core. I mean, not even pretty much. Now I'm going to have to install this Japanese wiring harness from the Lexus, route it the way it should be routed on the engine inside the bay, and I didn't hack it up in the slightest. All of the wiring is intact, so I'll route it like it would have been from the factory, as neatly as I can, and whatever connectors we won't need for, like, the lighting and so on. Anyway, the idea is to make all of it nice and tidy. Here's the deal. We are not sure if it's the correct way to do it, but this is how we're doing it. The coolant will flow from the cylinder head to the heater. In there it cools down. After that it makes it into the 3 turbos, exits them, and then goes through the stock 2J coolant hose into the water pump. This whole setup looks like a spider web, and each of the turbos has got 1 level, 2, 3, 4 levels of hoses. Multi-story setup. Is it even going to work? It should, but we can't be sure. We are nearing the end of the assembly process, and I suggest we go over the cost of building this engine. Starting with the pistons, rings, connecting rods, the used bearings. All of that cost us 10,000 rubles or $130 US, and these sorts of sets are very easy to come by. The turbos, they're the cheapest on the market, they're for a Subaru. They cost 1,000 rubles apiece. The gaskets and seals were mostly OEM, albeit purchased individually, not as a set. And all of them cost us approximately 10,000 rubles. Sealant, clamps, ancillary rubber bits, hoses, pipes. It was all around 10,000 rubles, and that covered all of the bases. Another 10 grand for a used wastegate and a blow-off valve. Here's the total cost. A junkyard engine would have been way more expensive. I mean, this isn't chump change by any means, but this engine has now got massive potential. The car is going to have much better acceleration. Oh yeah, almost forgot about the injectors. They were 1,000 rubles each. And here it is, guys. Right here we have the heart of this vehicle. The heart of any vehicle is the engine, and this one is in. As you can see, it is a great fit. No more, no less. I mean, of course, we wouldn't want to beat ourselves up, but at the end of the day, the engine is installed. Everything is great. And if we look back and remember where this started, we took the engine apart, inspected it. You would have seen that the pistons and the rods were the wrong ones. It was all cobbled together out of God knows what. Still, this engine did run. By some kind of miracle, I mean, you can put one together out of feces and sticks. As for us, we decided not to fit any aftermarket internals, opting for stock components instead, which of course made this a whole lot cheaper. But even the stock components for this engine can take quite a beating. This engine has got a lot of potential when it comes to increasing the horsepower. But yeah, we used OEM parts for the rebuild, though we did alter the compression ratio by fitting a head gasket with different thickness. After all, the intention from the very beginning was to go forced induction, without any crazy boost pressures, but the idea was to go turbo and to make an engine that would pack a decent punch. Right now it's fitted with 3 lovely turbos, just like we intended. We've done all of the plumbing, everything is good and well. We've also got all of the wiring connected, so that aspect is also covered. Fantastic. Go ahead, Sergey. Press the button. Do you guys hear that? It is so nice to hear it run like that. This is the heart of the vehicle. Of course, the way it should run is smoothly. What do you think? When you hear an engine running, ideally you should be thinking to yourself like, oh, wow, does it have some power? And that's exactly the feeling that this lovely sound gives you. So the engine runs, and very well, I might add. It's on point, but now it's a matter of tuning it. Getting the air-fuel mixture right, working out what sort of power figures we're aiming for. That, of course, is going to involve some calculations and maths. This is not going to be as easy as it would seem at first glance. But it's something we're going to have to do. As it is, a ton of work has gone into this build. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and of course if you don't want to miss what happens to it next, make sure to subscribe, because from here things will get even more interesting. For now we're going to call it, but the next episode on this build should be out pretty soon. Stay tuned for it. I myself am going to be eagerly anticipating the first drive, because like I just said, tuning an engine is a long and tedious process. But we'll get through it together with you guys. We'll of course show you all of the details. And that's it for this video. Watch us, subscribe, and catch you later.